Welcome to Why Though the Podcast.
We did it!
Baby!
Hello, Destiny Johnson!
Hello, Lizzy Acker. We're back in person. If you didn't know we weren't in person, you should be watching us on the Oregonian's YouTube channel. But welcome back to Why Though the Podcast in person.
Yeah, hello. We look really cute. Destiny especially has the best shade of lipstick on.
Thank you.
She's just so good at makeup, Destiny. Maybe one day we can just do an episode where you teach me how to put makeup on my face.
I've only ever put it on my face, really, but I would love to try. Could you fix your little mic hat for me? He's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would love to do that. How are you? You're back from
Texas.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to Texas for the total solar eclipse, and it was awesome, as predicted. I recommend everyone, if it's in your power, go see Totality if you can someday in your life. Sadly, I don't think it's coming back to the United States for like 20 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be Montana. But in 2 years, there's one in Spain, which I'm already angling for.
Plan the trip.
And 4 years, Australia, also angling for.
Ooh.
As you know, I love Disneyland, right?
Uh-huh.
I know I love the eclipse more. So I'm like, how am I going to... Really, if I had unlimited funds, I would like to just always be going to the eclipse or Disneyland or like a beach or a mountain.
Is there not a Disneyland in Spain or Australia?
No. There's one in France.
I knew that.
I've definitely never been to that. Anyway, I would just love to travel.
Yeah.
To only things that I want to go to.
Well, I can relate to that. But I don't have to consider anybody else. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's a really like incredibly unique desire.
Yeah.
I do love my job, but I would like to, I'd like maybe 6 months a year working, 6 months a year traveling.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Thanks.
Bosses at the Oregonian.
Yeah. If you can make that work for me, I'm going to need a raise because it's going to be a lot of airfare.
Yeah.
Which also like, could we figure out a way to make
I think what you really want is to be an influencer.
I don't though, because here's the thing, like last time I went to the eclipse, I wrote about it, and actually I do love doing things and writing about it, totally do. But when you're doing something and writing about it, it's a different experience than when you're just doing it for fun. Mm-hmm. Like I often eat ice cream for work, which I love to eat ice cream. And I'm totally love to eat ice cream and write about it. I also just would sometimes just rather eat ice cream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I really do, actually.
But you know what? There's not a lot of sympathy out there in the world.
You'll get it from me, though, because I get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Right. The way your hypervigilance is just up when you have to write about something because you like have to set the scene and think about how you're going to write about it. And sometimes you just want to stick ice cream in your face.
Totally. Yeah. So you get it. You get it, Destiny.
I do. I'm glad you had a good time,
though.
Not
one of those most relatable things. Yeah.
You brought your young child, and did she have a good time?
She did.
Good.
Yeah, it was actually quite cool because I brought my parents. We stayed with my uncle. My mom, unfortunately, got sick.
I hate to hear that.
Which is such a bummer. She got like a tummy thing. She couldn't come. She didn't see it at all. She did see Totality when she was 12 in Texas with her dad.
Yeah.
But her brother, my uncle, and my dad, and my husband, name withheld, and my daughter, whose name is never withheld, we drove from where my uncle lives, which is like 2 hours outside of Dallas. We drove to a place called I have it on a shirt and I can't even think of it. Anyway, we drove to this little town, not so little, but there's like basically a fairground kind of area, and we watched it there, and
love that.
It was interesting because the weather report was like pretty. People were freaking out because it was going to be cloudy. It was going to be cloudy basically all over Texas. Yeah. And I had friends that flew to Austin. I knew people in Dallas. Everyone was like concerned about the weather, and I think that this place where we went, there was supposed to be a lot more people. Canton, that's what it's called, Canton. Nice. But there was like very few of us, and it was partially cloudy. However, the whole, the part where you're watching the moon cover the sun, which takes a while, is very, very cool. And when you're getting to Totality, you see it in a way that's like it's amazing. It's like the sun is disappearing.
Yeah.
And because it was partially cloudy, we had eclipse glasses and we were looking at it with our glasses, but we were also able at certain points to just see it with your naked eye, which is like
so cloudy. That's cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Then right when the moon fully covered the sun, totality, this big cloud just covered the whole thing. So it was like, oh my God. But it goes pitch black, you know, and my uncle and dad and husband and daughter had never experienced totality before. So they were just like, whoa, this is so cool. Like the lights go on, it gets cold. There's like, it just feels different. And where we were dead center. So we got 4.5 minutes of totality. So that's a really long time.
Yeah.
And we were just still staring up at the sky, you know, feeling and experiencing it because the experience is just so wild. And then about 30 seconds before it ended, the clouds parted.
Nice.
And we saw, you know, the corona, which was so good. And I think I screamed. And Nona was like, that's my favorite moon. Because, you know, she loves the moon. She was like, she has lots of books about it. And, yeah, it was just, it's hard to describe because like it gets dark and the sun covers the moon, but like,
I saw it when I was a child.
Yeah.
We didn't get totality in 2017 where I was in Florida, but when I was a kid, I don't remember how old I was, but I remember the birds stopped chirping the moment totality happened, and I thought, oh, that's weird. Yeah, it was cool.
It's really wild, and it's really, I feel like it makes you feel like you're this tiny speck, but also totally connected to all the other tiny specks.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, and like
there's not like a person in the world who wouldn't think that's cool. No, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like we just to behold something that you have no control over. And
and it really cool and like it makes me think of like what did people 400, 600, 2,000 years ago, because this has been going on.
Probably the end times are nigh.
Yeah, I mean, like you wouldn't have wanted to like have messed up recently because you'd be like, ooh, God's punishing me.
Yeah, I bet.
But it is very cool. Or you could be like, wow, God is.
Yeah, like, whatever.
Raining down his blessings on me.
My God, from whatever religion is doing its thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. I'm glad you had a great time.
Yeah. How was it here? How were things here?
Things here were great. I mean, I started a new medication. Shocker. That's all I do. I just take pharmacology and talk about it on this podcast. So nothing too exciting for me.
Yeah, okay. How are the pups?
They're great. I went to Beetlejuice the musical, which is very exciting. It's only the second professional musical. So I've seen Cats like 4 times.
I love it.
And then this is the only other one that I've ever seen.
Different. Slightly different.
Different.
But yeah. I bet, was it amazing?
It was great.
I just think
the girl who played
doing
Lydia,
their stuff in musicals is just like outrageous.
So impressive. The scene stage stuff was amazing, and the girl who played Lydia Dietz. I'm sorry that I don't know her name. You can look it up. She's touring right now. She just graduated high school.
Stop.
And she was so incredible.
Yeah.
She was so incredible. When I found out that she just graduated high school, I was like, I wanted to cry. Like young people with so much talent. My gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, like the fact that these people, they're singing, they're dancing, they're doing this at the highest level in front of you. They can't stop. You know what I mean? Like a movie, after that you watch a movie, you're like, yeah, great. You had this in 15 takes. These people did it.
It's
right there. I love to go to a musical. Yeah.
Super fun. So shout out to my roommate.
Did you?
Family gets like season tickets, and I've never really. Yeah.
I think I saw this on Instagram. Did you see Tina and Amy also?
Can't talk about that because it's my favorite thing.
Okay. Sorry.
So shall we move on to the advice portion of this? If you didn't know, this is Why Though, the podcast where we take Lizzy's critically acclaimed and my critical opinion advice column called Why Though, and we turn it into this podcast where we chit chat about the questions before she gives you her nice, succinct professional advice. You can find that at OregonLive.com/why though.
Yes. Please do.
And you can submit questions through her email, but also you want to tell the people about your anonymous form?
I have an anonymous form, a Google form. So if you want to ask me a question and you want to be so anonymous, you don't even want me to know your email address, which I respect.
Yeah, my email address has my name in it. So.
Right. A lot of people says. Or like their husbands. That's if they're
or like their birth year.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
You don't need it. Sometimes I get a hard time for my silly email address from when I was 19, but I often feel like, this is sort of anonymous. No one knows who this is. Anyway, But if you want to be really anonymous, Google form, it's going to be linked below. It's linked in all my columns. I love to get anonymous questions.
Yeah, take advantage of it. Please do. We have a great question today, actually. A pretty juicy one. Are you ready?
And I am so ready. I'm putting my tea down. Okay. That's how ready I am.
Putting the tea down so she can spill the tea. Okay. So she doesn't literally spill the tea, just proverbially. Okay. Our question says, Dear Lizzy, I grew up in a very conservative LDS family. That's Latter-day Saints. That's the Mormons, if you didn't know. But for a variety of reasons, after leaving home to go to college, there's a period there, but I don't think that they meant it. I also left church. Great. So she's left the church. Okay. Or he. I don't know. After leaving, I exclusively dated women. Now, in my 20s, I am in a long-term relationship with a man, and I'm feeling weird about it. I thought I broke out of the heteronormative, misogynistic trappings of my youth, and now, am I falling right back into it? Former Mormon. So, yeah, a woman.
A woman, assuming, yeah. I think, a woman. And this is a juicy one. I think so, too.
It's got lots of levels.
Yeah, I am not a former Mormon, as we have discussed before. I feel like we had a religion question a couple weeks ago.
We did. We talked about it,
Easter question.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Mormons where I grew up, and a lot of former Mormons too. But yeah, this is such an interesting one. So this person is younger than us, right? So this is great for us to be able to give advice to a younger person.
Yeah, now in my 20s. So
right.
Who knows where in your 20s?
Right.
Because 21 and 28, big difference.
Big difference. So, but let's say mid-20s. Let's just go with, because what I want to say first is, like, congrats on, like, leaving this. That's hard.
Goodness.
That's really
absolutely.
hard
that
to, like,
hard
break with your tradition. And whatever your tradition is, whatever you grew up with, that can be really hard. And it's more recent than you think. You know what I mean? Like, I think this person is still dealing with the residue of leaving a religion. And you might think, like, well, I'm done. I did it. I left. It's over. No. The news is it's going to be with you forever. And part of your, like, ongoing work is going to be figuring out how to deal with that. Yeah. And I think this way you're feeling about dating a man is clearly an echo, but maybe not in the way you think, you know, like, because it seems to me like, okay, you broke up with the church, and at that same time you started dating women, and that to you represents that break, you know, like, look, I'm doing something now that I couldn't do when I was in the church. This is part of who I am now. This is who I am now. And you don't, it's interesting in this letter, this person doesn't mention their sexuality, like, you know, doesn't define it or put a name to it. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to say that this person identifies as gay or queer or whatever, bi, you know, though I would suggest that it is very possible to be attracted to men and women. And both are not, good or bad in terms of who you are as a person. They are just part of you. You know, like, don't attach your identity, well, you can attach your identity however you want, but, like, your value as a person does not come from whether you're dating men or dating women in either case. Right. And it seems like maybe you're worried that because you're dating a man now, that was fake, maybe part of it. Like, you're leaving that church, that break, it wasn't real, or you were lying to yourself or something. I don't know. That's sort of my first initial thought, which I think you should give yourself a break for that, because people can be attracted to men and women, and not every male-female relationship has to be heteronormative or misogynistic. Yeah. I am queer. I like people of all genders, and I also tolerate men, which is kind of how I feel about the whole thing. And so there's this thing that, so look, I was not from the Latter-day Saints. Again, congrats leaving that. It's a very difficult institution to leave, not just because the institution makes it difficult, but because it is beyond a church, it is a way of life. Yeah. Right? And it's all like wrapped up in your family, I'm sure. And like the community that you lived in. And you know, so I did grow up in the South. I did not come out until I moved to Portland. Not because my family is not supportive and great, but just because
there is a lot of internalized homophobia that you can experience. And when I say that, just in case you maybe don't know what that is, it's just like when you are surrounded by these sort of low-key homophobic beliefs, right? That
or high-key in your case.
Yeah, absolutely. Or high-key, absolutely. Yeah. And you internalize these, and even though you would say with your outside voice and really believe in the tenet of everybody being able to love who they want or being able to marry who they want, inside it still feels wrong to you. Right. It's not like you're like being a homophobe. Yeah. You're just internalizing the things that you've heard and been taught. So I really encourage you to sort of try and deconstruct that. It can be very, very hard to greet that part of yourself when you have dated women or expressed any form of queerness or bi or pan or however you identify, or if you don't identify at all, just dating other genders is not, you're right, it's not mainstream. And so there is when I first came out, there was a little bit of like a rebellion of where I came from, and I was like, oh, this is kind of punk, this is kind of cool.
Right, exactly.
So that doesn't mean that exploring that part of yourself is really important to build your identity, but that doesn't mean that that's the end all be all. And it's not like you're settling for a man, right? You found somebody who hopefully makes your life better, makes you a better person. You make them, all the things that create a relationship as an adult that we look for, you happen to find in a man. Now, if he's misogynistic, or if you'd rather be dating a woman, then yes, maybe you are following into these heteronormative, misogynistic type things. But if you love this person, want to continue dating them, it's just what you want. And is that not the glory of leaving an institution like where you were, that you get to choose? Right. That's amazing. Yeah. But we can be, especially in the queer community, if you were dating women and you were around other women who date women, or, non-gender people or whatever, there is a biphobia that exists. A lot of people think that if you, we call it biphobia, but whatever you identify as, that if you like both genders or all genders, you're really secretly gay or you're secretly straight and you're just pretending. Right. That's not, it's not. We're not 14, we're not in high school anymore. Yeah. You get to do whatever you want with whoever you want. And I hope this dude makes you happy.
Yeah. I feel like you said something really, really good there, Destiny, which was that like, this isn't what you were in before because it's you choosing. Yeah. And you chose women before and you're choosing a man now, you're choosing, but you have the agency to do whatever you want and make your relationship look however you want it to look. Like, just because people on the outside might be like, well, look, there's a straight couple, it doesn't have to be there's a straight couple. I know lots of people who are in relationships, male female relationships,
you're still queer if you're dating if you're in a straight looking couple,
right? Like where at least one or if not both of the people are bisexual, or there's like whatever all kinds of things, just so many ways you can be in a relationship. And you can be heterosexual and you still don't have to be in a heteronormative misogynistic relationship. Right. I'm not saying you're heterosexual at all. I'm just saying like one could.
Absolutely.
I am heterosexual in a relationship with a man, and I wouldn't consider it a misogynistic or heteronormative relationship in a lot of ways.
It's kind of the issue. The queer community has weaponized this a little bit, right? So we think about like the idea. Have you ever heard of the term gold star lesbian?
No, tell me.
Okay, so it's a little bit. It's not. You don't want to use it, but it basically means a lesbian that's never been with a man.
Oh yeah, right.
She's a gold star lesbian. This is sort of some of the bred in sort of biphobic, panphobic sort of situation that like. Oh, you're even less of a lesbian if you've been with a man. You know what I mean? So like sometimes the queer community can be not so forgiving about the exploratory stages of sexuality, which is very silly because being queer in America, I will say, that's the only thing I can speak to, requires a little bit of figuring things out. Right.
I mean, I think we could go as far as saying being a human being requires some figuring things out. And, we can, I think, along all kinds of spectrums, give each other the space to not fall into one specific category or another. And, you're breaking from a dogma, and there's all kinds of dogmas that people are, religious, non-religious, Destiny, you're kind of talking about a dogma too, like the dogma that this is what it means to be a lesbian. This is what it means, like, you are so young and you get to decide what you want. And just because you're with a man right now too, doesn't mean you're always going to be with a man.
Right.
Just because you're this person right now doesn't mean that's how you're always going to be. You know, I think I've mentioned this before, and I long ago said I would never just say the answer is to get therapy. And I don't want to say that the answer to this is to get therapy at all. I just think that
it's one component.
Right. I think it would help you to talk, maybe not even therapy, but just like talk to some people who've gone through this experience, because it is massive, honestly, to leave a dogma. And it's going to be with you forever. And your work is really going to be figure out how to, reconcile these parts and not hate your past self either. Like I think part of it is you wanted to move so far, to move beyond the church. And that is, part of that rebellion and breaking of that, you associate sleeping or dating women with that. But you're still that same person that you were before, like you have to acknowledge and love the person that was part of that church too.
Yeah, it's all growing and learning.
Yeah.
But I also would like to maybe toss this in the ring. It is also a little demeaning, seems harsh, but painting a picture of your partner in black and white because they're a man.
Yeah.
Now, you're probably never going to hear me out here like defending men.
Hashtag not all men.
I will never say not all men, because I think smart people know that that's implied. But if your male partner is not a misogynist,
right,
and is actively working to not be a misogynist, then you certainly cannot be partaking in misogynistic trappings from your youth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
just
also,
being a man does not make you a bad person. We have to.
Yeah. It's a structural thing that's beyond the man that you know.
Right.
It is larger than any individual. But if that person is a good person and they're a man, that happens. It happens.
There are some of them, and I've met them, and I love them, and we often joke about men. No offense to men here. But I do think like it is interesting. There is something interesting there though. It's like, if you are a woman who is in a relationship with a man, there's sometimes it's like, it's hard because to be like in this world where misogyny is everywhere. This is the patriarchy still. I mean, we're working on it, but you have to remember too that like men are also victims of this system, and a lot of men are trying hard to break out of it too. So I think that you just need to, I think you're going to be okay. Yeah. I think just take a step back and realize that just because the relationships that were condoned by your church were male-female relationships, that doesn't mean they would condone this relationship. They would probably think it was terrible. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. They no longer condone you because you've outgrown them.
Right.
So,
are you using birth control? They probably don't condone it.
Yeah.
So use birth control, by the way.
Yeah. And, if you're happy in your relationship, stay. If you're not, leave.
Yeah. But you get to choose. That's the great part of it now.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Thank you for sending it in.
Please use the anonymous form to send in your questions if you would like, or you can email Lizzy or me. It's all in the description below. Yeah. Should we move on to Smash or Pass?
We should move on to Smash or Pass, and I want to hear your Smash first because I sort of talked about the eclipse already, and I got to come up with another Smash.
That's okay. This is Smash or Pass, where we talk about things that we love or things that we hate, aka things we'd smash or things we'd pass. My Smash is last night. I've been getting really cultured. I went to Beetlejuice the musical.
Oh my gosh, I know. And now, like so all over the culture.
And then yesterday I went to the Moda Center to see my birth mothers, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, which is like very
so nice
millennial of me.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
I love them. They're so funny. I think they're such great, hilarious female role models. I think they've done such amazing things with their fame. I think that obviously like all the trailblazing in comedy that they've done, the writing they're just so lovely humans they seem like. And it was so funny. It was just, and also it got out at 8:00. Love that.
It got out at 8:00. I
It got
should have
out at
gone.
8
Oh my
o'clock.
God. Did you
amazing.
have tickets before during the ice storm?
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
what I was going to say. This was a makeup show because, and Amy Poehler made so much fun of this because her and Tina Fey met in Chicago, where the winters are very harsh.
Yeah.
They came here for the show in January, is when it was supposed to be, but we had an ice storm. And so obviously you have to explain to people, like, it's not really because there's a dusting of snow on the ground. It's because it rained and it turned into ice and
nobody
can
can drive. Yeah.
Right. So that was the situation. But Amy was making jokes about how there was like a light dusting of powder out and people, like, everything shut down, which is sort of true.
I feel like, yeah, at that
funny.
point there was a video of them at Pioneer Square Mall.
Yeah, it was them and Maya Rudolph, and they went to Pioneer Square Mall because Mean Girls the musical had just come out and they wanted to see it in the theater. So that's what they did instead.
Cool.
Yeah, it was
Oh my
so funny.
gosh.
It was just 2 hours of great belly laughs. I had a great time and I love them. And I hope they know that.
So jealous. And I love that for you.
Thank you so much.
I guess I'm gonna smash something that I haven't even like looked into this at all, but so when I was flying back on the plane, you know, you can like watch TV on your phone, like connecting to the whatever plane internet, and there was this show Foundation, which is like have you seen this show?
I've heard of it.
It's on Apple Plus TV.
I think my
Plus
roommate was
whatever.
watching it, yeah.
I like watched the entire first season. Apparently there's a second season. Lee Pace. Okay, Lee Pace plays
yes, she was
intergalactic
watching
bad guy.
Because I walked
Classic
down and I was
for
like,
Lee
is that Lee
Pace.
Pace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Lee Pace without a shirt on?
Yeah.
As far as men go, Lee Pace is okay by me.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Anyway, it's like a sci-fi show based on an Isaac Asimov book, which I haven't read, or series. I don't even know. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know. I don't know if people like this show. I literally never heard it. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know, like, critically if it's like liked or if it's like, because sometimes I'm like, this show's kind of bad, but sometimes watching like a sci-fi show is just like, I know that it's supposed to be about things that are like really happening to humans and whatever, but I love to get just really involved in whether this planet is like gonna do something to this planet. Like, it's just so far removed from the stuff that's going on here, and I don't know, it's fun. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah,
I've watched far too much of it. In fact, like, it's gotten in the way of my true love book reading. But anyway, so Foundation. And also, if you have watched it, just like send me an email, lacker@oregonian.com. I want to know if anyone else has watched this show.
Yeah.
Your roommate. Okay.
My roommate. Yeah, but she watches a lot of new TV, which I think is cool.
Okay.
I think that's a cool.
Yeah.
To keep up with.
And
stuff.
Lee Pace.
And Lee
You know
Pace,
what I
who's
mean.
an attractive gentleman.
Plus he plays this like evil ruler who just keeps getting cloned. So there's like, he's just everyone else ages, not Lee Pace.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, there's
future,
different
probably.
ages of him, but anyway, it's a whole thing. You
It's
should
a
watch
whole
it.
thing.
Do you have a pass, Destiny?
I have a pass, but it's kind of a jokey pass because
Okay.
I actually do like this. Have you heard of a man called Josh Gates? He's kind of like the face of the Discovery Channel right now, in the way Guy Fieri is the face of the Food Network.
Okay.
So Josh Gates just has several shows, but right now he has a show called Expedition Unknown. And he basically goes across the world and he investigates these like the greatest mysteries in all of our history. Like he traced the history of the Holy Grail and found what they believe to be the actual Holy Grail. You know what I mean? It's just like weird history stuff like that. It's very interesting. He's a great guy. He's a great TV personality. This man has like his bachelor's degree in archaeology. And the way that he has turned this into such success is like sickening to me. He literally in this one, I had to call my stepdad because my stepdad loves him. And I could not believe this. Literally in an episode that I watched recently, he was in a place in Sudan that in the ancient times, like during ancient Egypt, it was called Kush. And Kush basically supplied a lot of the gold to Egypt and made Egypt the rich empire that it was. And in fact, at one point, the Kush even took over ancient Egypt. And like, we don't know anything about the Kush. You know what I mean? Like when you research history, you don't learn about them. So he went in, he like had to scuba dive into this cave or this tomb because part of it was underwater. They couldn't see anything. So there's video of him doing that, right? And then he went into the sarcophagus and they ended up pulling out stuff from this open sarcophagus.
Jeez.
And for the first time in all of human history, they confirmed that a king of Kush was buried in this sarcophagus. He made literal history. This man has a bachelor's degree in archaeology. A degree that if I was on a date with a man and he looked me in my eye and told me that, I'd be like, okay, so what do you do now?
Yeah,
you work in an office? Okay.
Yeah, right. Bachelor's degree in archaeology. So you live at home with your parents. Like it's wild.
The show is amazing.
Okay.
I
so
love
this
the
is
show,
really a smash.
It's a smash, but it's a pass. Like God has favorites, I guess, because this man, like, what the hell?
You can do anything in this world.
He must be so charming or something. I don't know.
I mean, he's a man.
Yeah,
Get back to that. Oh wow. Well, I guess I gotta watch it.
It is a good show, but it's absurd.
Okay.
I was sitting there like, this. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, let's see. I the only pass I came up with a pass this morning.
Okay.
It is kind of dumb and obvious, but I'm gonna pass on war again. I just don't want us to go to war. Yeah. I don't want there to be any.
The tensions
war
are
is bad. Stop is what I would like to say to anyone who's like, let's start a war.
Yeah.
How about not? I mean, I would rather not.
Yeah.
No more war. Thank you.
I'm not like a specialist on geopolitics, obviously, but it does seem like a situation is brewing in the Middle East that other Middle Eastern countries are maybe taking a little bit of advantage of.
Yeah, and it just seems like a lot of people are like, yeah, like we just don't need to do it again. Yeah, we don't need to do it again. It's not good for anyone. I've been listening. I'm bringing it way down, guys. NPR has been doing this thing about I think it's 30 years since the Rwandan genocide.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And just like, it's just so awful. And it was 30 years ago, and people are still, of course, genocide is in the name. Rwandan genocide. It's like, it was so bad. And have we learned nothing?
Yes.
I mean, the answer is yes. We have learned nothing. We keep doing this over and over and over again. But what is the point of like acquisition of language, the ability to share knowledge, if we can't like get this basic thing right, which is stop killing each other?
It's like, I don't understand the want for acquisition of land.
No, me either.
Like the furthering of land.
Why? Why do you need it?
I could understand it when land was new. It's not new anymore.
Right.
I don't.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, just stop. Anyway, that's my pass.
No,
Please
I agree.
don't.
It's a good pass. It's better than mine. Mine was like
yours.
A half pass.
Yours was kind of like a lot more fun though.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Destiny, as always, it was lovely to see you.
Yes, it's been grand. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to be back in person.
Yes, and we'll be back next week.
And with you guys. Watch us on YouTube.
Please
download this. Do whatever. Tell your friends. Bye.
Bye.
Listening to Why Though the podcast. Subscribe for weekly episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. If you're looking for more Why Though, check out my column that comes out every Tuesday on OregonLive.com. You can support our local journalism by going to OregonLive.com/pod support.